everybody. I'm here with Josh Van Til of Annie Mac. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing great, Russ. Hey, thanks so much for having me on today. It's my pleasure to sponsor your show. Yeah, we help people get mortgages, get into the home of their dreams, and also care for those homes, do remodels, things like that, use the equity in their home. And I would love to talk to people out there, your friends, your families, that are either looking for a home or looking to remodel or just need to refinance because you have an outrageous percentage rate, whatever the case may be. You can contact me at jvantil, V as in Victor, A-N-T as in Tom, I-L, at annie-mac.com, or call me, 541-740-2576. And thanks again, Russ.
Thank you so much, Josh. Hey, here we are, ready to go with a special episode of the Experience Plus. Whoop, whoop. How are you doing today?
You see that green background and you know something special because it's the Experience Plus. And I'll say I just came from moderating the Business Builders Throwdown, and so for that, of course, you have to use an Elvis mic if you're moderating that. If you're moderating a throwdown, you've got to have the "Are you ready to rumble?" microphone, and so I thought I would leave it on for the experience today. But I want to thank Josh. I tell you, anyone that's going to get a mortgage, talk to Josh because he's gonna explain it. But man, he's somebody you can talk to. He's not going to talk over your head. He's going to be your best buddy.
Yeah, he is a great guy. We really appreciate having him on, and Annie Mac is a sponsor today. So yeah, you definitely got to, he gave his contact information there. You can look him up online as well. So anyway, super excited about our guest today. We have Ashley LIn, a young and incredible author at only 17.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I think that we're just going to skip anything else and just bring her in. What do you think, Scott?
Let's bring her in. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Hello, Ashley.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yes.
Ashley, it's wonderful. You're here writing a book because I'll tell you, when Russ and I were in high school, we both did everything we could to avoid writing. and you volunteered to write your own book because you have something important to say. So we'll look into that a little bit as well.
Yeah, we just really want to start off, Ashley, by turning it over to you and letting us tell a little bit about this incredible book you've written. And the people can actually purchase the book, pre-buy it now, and it's coming out this summer, right?
Yes. So my book is called Youth Orgalnizer. It's about how young people can build more powerful online communities. It's actually going to be published by the New Degree Press this August. So I started writing the book when the pandemic first started and schools went online. I felt really disconnected from clubs and communities at school, and I knew many of my peers felt the same way. And so I started thinking a lot about, well, how do we help our clubs and friend groups and communities transition online and adapt to this new digital world? And so that's really when I started writing. And I really hope my book can be used by anyone to build belonging and power in digital spaces. Excited to dive deeper into it.
Well, it seems to me that with your generation, this would come like super naturally because, you are used to that. But it's amazing how many people just don't really realize the value of the community they can, that they can find online. I think during this pandemic over the last year, so many people have found incredible encouragement in that. Don't you think?
Yes, definitely. I think, especially in this time when everything is just so hectic, nothing is really certain. It's more important than ever for young people to be in spaces where they feel seen and understood and cared for and like they belong. I think, a lot of times young people feel like the world is something that happens to us versus something that we have control over. And when we're able to get together into communities and really support each other, it really allows us to gain agency over the future of our own lives and the world around us.
And so what are some of the practical tips that we can share with those that not only that are in the youth that need to build communities digitally, but also anyone? What can we do to build a community digitally?
Yeah. Also, I think one of the big things is to, I think a lot of people feel like community building is something that happens on its own, right? Like you drop a whole bunch of people into a Zoom room and, people will magically connect and become friends. And I think, and I don't think it usually works like that, right? Like community building is something that takes a lot of time, or it requires hard work. It takes a lot of intention. But but there is kind of this intentional way to go about doing it. And when we look at the best community, when we look at the most successful digital communities, there are certain things that all of these communities do. And so I think there's definitely a lot of kind of processes to adopt, and that's really what my book talks about. And so how my book is structured is each chapter actually addresses one of the big questions that new digital community builders have. And so we cover questions from things like how do I find my people and find the purpose behind my community, to kind of creating rituals and building rhythm within your community, and really passing on leadership and leading with love. So I think it runs the gamut, but I think at the core is really just intention and really caring for the people in your community as you try to do good.
Yeah, I think being intentional is really important nowadays, and I think being thoughtful about where you're looking for that community, because you're right. I mean, there's a lot going on out there, and you got to be real specific and targeted as to looking for the community that you really need. And I think when you find that by reaching out, it's amazing when you give to others how much they give back and how much that community does encourage and support everybody. And obviously you found that support in this past year when you were really struggling, being, isolated as well.
Yes, definitely. I mean, there's, even when we look at some of today's kind of, biggest social movements, right? Like whether that's the climate strikes or March for Our Lives, these movements were organized online with young people really coming together. And, these movements were built in Discord channels and in group chats. And so, yeah, I mean, I just definitely agree with you there that there's so much power when people are able to get together and meaningfully support each other and work towards something together.
Right. You were talking about those rituals too, those things that we do when you would meet face to face. So Russ and I would meet at a chamber event. We reach out and shake hands, and we do it because it's a ritual. That's just a part of that, right?
Yes.
You would go over to the coffee or tea or wherever and grab it and kind of have that available as a part of the ritual. Whether you really wanted a cup of coffee or not, it's part of that ritual. And so when we're thinking about that with building these online communities, what are the types of things that we might do in Zoom rooms or in the other ways to connect to people that help us create and establish those rituals that bind us together?
Yeah, that's Scott, that's such a great question. So a couple of things come to mind. When I think first off, rituals kind of take place in all shapes and forms. What is really important about rituals is to do them rigorously and repetitively. And so what I mean by that is we want to do it consistently over time. And when we do these rituals, we really want to do them with intention, and really emphasize what is happening and why. And so something I think about, so oftentimes when I facilitate Zoom calls in community, we will start with 3 grounding breaths. And so we will all take time to land into the call together, and just do some kind of breath work in the beginning to help kind of bring everyone into this digital space. Other kind of rituals I've helped create include things like, every Saturday, like doing a shout out practice where we express gratitude for people in the community. Different things like always kind of closing out Zoom calls with a word about how people are feeling right now, to kind of get a pulse on kind of the emotion in the room. And so I think there are kind of lots of ways to kind of structure Zoom events. So either like at the beginning or the end, there's always something that people engage in together, that gives people that sense of kind of collective identity, and feeling of like, yes, like whenever I do this, I know I am part of the community. And this is how I get into kind of like the mode and the vibe of the community.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that really comes down to just developing good habits when it comes to rituals and doing it consistently, I think. So when you're getting into these different groups and all your communities, and like Scott said, building those rituals, I think that it's important just to really be consistent and realize it's an ongoing process, right? It's not something that just happens overnight. We are constantly doing this, thus rituals are called rituals. So I think that you're wise beyond your years.
And you're very wise in your words. I love the way you were able to just turn a phrase there.
Okay, hush. So that's enough out of you. So let's see. I have power. Scott's going to be leaving the show now. Anyway, so listen, I am going to bring in Paul Edwards, who is a copywriter and an author, a ghostwriter, doing all kinds of things, and definitely is full of wisdom. And we want to bring him in to join this conversation for a minute to give his little bit of wisdom and a little encouragement for you, Ashley. So say hi to Paul. Hi, Paul.
Everybody.
Hey, good to see you,
Thanks for
Paul.
having me on. Great to be here.
Yeah.
You bet. You bet. Hey, we're just going to let it's amazing, don't you think, what Ashley is doing at her age? And we'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I would say, Ashley, first of all, I'm very impressed by your story. Have had a chance to get to know a little bit about it beforehand. And when it comes to writing a book, one thing you need to remember is there's always a degree of credibility that gets assigned to the author that previously wasn't there, right? Gone are the days when you can still once in a blue moon be a J.K. Rowling and make a fortune off of writing books, but for the most part, it's an enhanced business card. It introduces whoever you give it to, and it gives them to the way you think and what's important to you and where your skill set lies. And so, as you create this project, as you create this book, always bear that in mind that throughout schools or institutions where young people need to hear more of what you're up to and what you believe, having a book is going to give you a tremendous leg up in terms of being able to get in front of those audiences and present those ideas and build connections that way.
So Paul has 3 books that he gets credit for under his name, and we don't know how many books that he doesn't get credit for under other people's names. But yeah, Paul is definitely full of great wisdom. And Nancey West is coming in next, and Nancy just finished a project on her 3rd book. Hello, Nancy.
Hello.
And Nancy, again, Ashley doing incredible things at her age. You and I have talked about the whole process and have done this later in life. You and I both become authors later on, and amazing at 17. What do you have to say to Ashley today?
Well, I was very impressed with her wisdom. Like you said, she's wise beyond her years, and that she talks very clear, very fluent, and writing a book is a great accomplishment at any age because of the skills that you have to use to organize it, to make it clear for other people to understand, and just the process of getting it out there can be very frustrating. It might not be so much for Ashley as it was for us, because the technology part is what held me up quite a bit in learning different programs and stuff. I was just a little bit slower on the technology stuff, but it takes a lot to put a book together, especially one that people are going to want to use as a tool. And that's what books, a lot of books are for entertainment, some books are for tools. And it sounds like that you have put the effort into being a tool for how you saw a problem and you found ways to address that problem, and you turn that into a book. And I think that it's taken a lot of skill, a lot of determination, and I just salute you for that. I think that it was very good at your age or at any age to do that and to put the book out there with what we call a felt need. It's people out there need the skill that you're giving them, the tool that you're giving them to work through a situation. And I think that it's a very important situation because so many people have lost connection because of being isolated. And I think anything that we can do to get that connection back into the community is just very needed. And so I feel like that the felt need that is out there for your book to be accepted.
Yeah, I just not only am I so impressed with you, Ashley, but everybody in this group has all been through the process of writing at least one book. And in fact, I think I'm the junior member. I only have one. Scott, you have two. Nancy, you have three. Paul, you have three plus however many other ones. And but no, it's just incredible. And I just really want to thank Nancy, you and Paul for being willing to come on and just, impart some of that wisdom and just encourage Ashley, because I think it is a great thing she's doing. You guys have any last words before we go and let you guys go on to the rest of your day, since you were so nice just to pop in and guest today?
I just encourage her to keep going. And I don't know whether writing is something she wants as a career or whether it was just this one project that she thought was important or what. But when you're writing, like you said, it's not the financial end of it, because that's not really that big once you get into it and stuff. But it's the desire to help people and to give them tools to work with and to solve some type of problem. And I think that you're doing a good job there, and just keep working at it.
Hey, so before you leave, I'm sorry, Ashley, I'll let you go. I was just going to say, just Nancy, real quickly, tell us the title of your latest book.
Liking Myself, Loving My Life, 21 Days to Enjoying Right Now.
Perfect. And Ashley, did you have something to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just going to thank Nancy and Paul just so much for sharing all your insights. I think what you both said about, kind of like writing the book is really just the first step, and the real value is in everything that comes after it. Really resonates with me because, I wrote this book to help increase access to community building knowledge for young people. And so I think so much of the journey is still to come, right? And it's really all about how do I share this message and share the strategies offered in the book with more young people and actually help people implement it in the real world. So, just thank you both so much just for being here today.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Nancy. You guys have an awesome rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just love that. It looks like Nancy's got that whole log cabin world there. I think you have to write with like pen and paper in that environment. You can't be using the iPad. Anyway, I love what she said about. I just love what she was saying about creating a tool and solving someone's problem, because you need three things for a business: problem, a solution, and someone willing to pay for it. And obviously the problem was out there. Ashley, you've created a solution, and perhaps there's ways for you to create a business around this. And as Paul says, anytime you get onto podcasts, and anyone that's watching, I encourage you to recruit Ashley to your podcasts. But anytime you're now introduced, you can always be introduced author of. Ashley LIn, author of, for the rest of your life. And realistically, that's a very small number of people who have been willing to do that. And so congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, I think it is such an incredible accomplishment. It took me till I was 56 to accomplish that. So it took me a few more years, but I, but I also did it
during
during
an iPad next time. It'll be fast.
I know, writing went really slow with the pen and paper. But no, I mean, I was also inspired by the pandemic, though, much like you, of doing something to encourage people. And so, yeah, I mean, being through the process myself, I know that it is a lot. And being 17, I can't even imagine. I was too wrapped up in other stuff at 17. I can't even imagine of writing a book back then. Scott was probably systematic and as structured back then as he is now. So he could have probably written 2 or 3 books at 17, but not me.
No, in high school, there was no way. There was no way I was interested in that. I could barely get a paper out if I was required to. And, but you know, it's that intrinsic motivation, Ashley, that you had to be able to get out. And I'll just say, this is one of those things. And we met through Young Entrepreneurs Business Week, which is business camp for high school students. And when you spend time with students like Ashley, and you think about the future, because in many cases, when people are looking at younger generations, and I'll tell you, it's not just the current generation. This has been going on. Every older generation looks down and thinks that the future is some sort of combination between hell and a handbasket. But when you spend time with people like Ashley, and please buy the book, spend time with her through the book, or get her onto your podcast or their platform, you will be convinced that our future is secure because Ashley's going to be leading it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Ashley, so the number one thing that you really want people to get out of this book, how are you going to encourage them to come buy your book?
Yeah. So are we talking about like the number one thing people get from reading it?
Yeah.
Yes. So the book is structured in a way that it really kind of goes over, it walks step by step through the process of building a digital first community. And I think what is cool about the book is that it really lifts up the stories of youth organizers, so young people building online communities. And I think what's cool about that is when it comes to meeting on Zoom, young people bring so much energy and imagination and just new ways of getting people together online. And so if you are, like an entrepreneur, an organizer, a community builder, if you're an adult working with young people and interested in empowering young people and lifting up youth voices, this book really is the book for you. And it has a whole bunch of insights around community building from the perspective of youth organizers who have been really successful and launched entire movements in doing that.
Yeah, it's amazing the power of community coming together. I'm all about connection. I'm all about community. Scott will tell you, and so is he, Mr. Networking Motivational Listener. He is, wonderful at reaching out to people. Obviously, he reached out to you, but I think that this is wonderful what you have going and how you're reaching out to your generation and really all generations, because everybody needs community. Everybody needs to probably my generation needs it more than your generation because some of them don't even know what that means exactly. So no, I'm super, super excited for you. So you can pre-purchase your book, right?
Yes.
Tell us all about that.
Yeah. So as a new author, my publisher wants me to kind of build momentum this spring. And so my goal is to pre-sell 200 copies of the book this April. So in like the next 10 days. And my Indiegogo campaign page is currently live. So definitely check it out and consider pre-ordering a copy of the book or even sponsoring a class of students to be able to access the book as well.
That's great. Would you do me a favor to make sure we have that right? And in the comments of our show, would you go ahead and put that link in there so people have that? And I want to encourage everybody that's watching, whether you're watching live or on replay, because a ton of people will watch this on replay, that it is important. You know, the great things that Ashley is doing at her age need support. You need to get in contact with her. She is on LinkedIn. You can easily find Ashley LIn on LinkedIn, and you can easily get in contact with her and get her on your podcast, get her on whatever you have going on. And yeah, I would definitely encourage you, Ashley, to get involved with as many existing communities as you can. Reach out to them. Scott and I can help you with that. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for you.
Hey,
Yeah.
I just want to say too that so in addition to be able to go to Indiegogo, buy your book, connect with you on LinkedIn. I know everybody's going to want to know because there's a universe out there that needs denting. And what are your plans? Because you're graduating in weeks, right?
Yes.
Then
yes.
what's next?
That is a good question. And to be honest, I am still trying to figure it out. So I will be taking a gap year next year before attending the University of Pennsylvania. And I guess in the really long run, I am passionate about everything that has to do with helping young people have the resources they need to realize their full potential. And so I'm really passionate about education and really building the future of what education looks like to work for every student. So I think so much of what the future of learning will look like will be in communities, right? And I think that's the really special part about it.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Everything is changing nowadays, and online communities are not going away. Even when we get back, as we're slowly getting back in person more, which is a good thing. I got to say, I do like that. Not having to just stare at the computer screen all the time is a good thing. But online communities aren't going away, and we are going to be doing more and more of that. More and more people have found the advantages to online communities. So I applaud you, and we are just blessed to have you on today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you both so much for for this incredible opportunity. And yeah, I'm just so incredibly grateful for both of your support.
You bet. You bet. And we are going to wrap things up at this point. So Ashley, hang tight. We're going to say thank you so much to you, and we will see you in just a minute. All right, Mr. Scott.
What pretty inspiring, huh?
Oh my goodness. She is incredible. I mean that. It's incredible at 17. Yeah. I don't even have words for that.
Well, and I would say it's impressive at 17, but I'll say at any age.
Yeah.
To have that heart and to go out to see a need and find a way to fulfill it. And so at 17, 27, 97, I'm impressed and grateful that Ashley was able to be on the show. And we had some great guests. We had Nancy and we had Paul. And those are wonderful connections. Everyone should go out and find their mentors to help them succeed.
Exactly. We all need people. We can't do it alone. So that is so true. And again, thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Nancy. And thank you, Josh, for sponsoring today. We appreciate all of you for watching. If you're watching on replay, put hashtag replay. make comments, get in contact with Ashley, share this with your friends. And until we see you again, thanks so much. Have a wonderful day.
And
Go ahead, Scott.
And buy a classroom full of books.
There you go.
Enjoy
Yes,
the
that too.
experience.
Okay, bye-bye.